How's it going, everybody? It's Spider Flame, and we are back with another FPL video, and today we're going to be taking a look at my 5 picks for the best captaincy options this game week. We go with 4 more serious ones and more of captains that could be definitely seen in most teams, and then one kind of differential off-the-wall pick that if you're feeling a bit on the frisky side, you're feeling a bit differential happy, you can definitely go with that pick as well. If you haven't done so already and you are enjoying the videos, make sure to leave a like on the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new, and turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. And make sure to drop a follow over on Twitter so that you can get up to date with all the videos that do come out, as well as any lineup news or any different scheduling of different videos and that sort of stuff. As well as give us a follow over on Twitch. We will be doing a deadline stream tomorrow, 1 hour before the FPL deadline for the Game Week 23 deadline, so make sure to come check us out over on Twitch. Links are in the description. So without further ado, let's see what captaincy options we have for this week. So probably the most obvious one after coming off his 17-point haul for Manchester United in their 9-0 drumming of Southampton is Bruno Fernandes himself. I mean, he's just so good this season. 162 points, 12 goals, 11 assists, almost 60% owned, and is doing very well for himself. He has Everton at home, which both games that United have played versus Everton, they've won quite comfortably. They won 3-1 in the league at Goodison Park. And they also won 2-0 in their Carabao Cup encounter as well. So they have done quite well in both occasions and look pretty much in control of the game for the most part once they started rolling and getting on the score sheet. In the last 4 matches, Fernandes has 4 shots in the box, which is quite good. So average of at least 1 shot in the box per game. He's created 11 chances, which is pretty good as well. And has a decent XGI, 2.37. So nothing too crazy, but it has done quite well. And to think, I think it was 7 goals in, and Bruno still hadn't he had just registered only 1 assist for the 7 goals the United scored, which is pretty crazy. And they didn't even have Paul Pogba on the pitch as well, who could take away from some of Bruno's points, but Bruno's just Bruno. He can always get a penalty, and he can always do quite well. And like we mentioned, in all competitions, Everton just haven't been very good versus United, although they have, started to, increase that form just a little bit. That may be due to the fact that Jordan Pickford won't be available for this game, who has been letting Everton down in games and conceding goals that he probably shouldn't be doing. So going to be a little bit of a tougher ask for United this time. They are at home, and they have been, doing quite well at home recently, or a little bit better, not as good as what they would have liked, like their away form where they're unbeaten all season. So hopefully they can replicate that if you do decide to choose Bruno Fernandes as your captain in Game Week 23. Now, potentially one of the players that was penciled in to be the sure shot thing as a captain for Game Week 23, especially with consideration how good him and Kane were doing this season, was HeungMin Son. They have West Brom at home. You would think a fantastic fixture on paper. West Brom have been averaging close to 2 expected goals conceded per match. I think it's just shy of it at 1.95 or 1.97, somewhere in that region. And Son's been doing very well. 145 points, 12 goals, 6 assists, but has kind of tailed off a bit since Kane's injury and only scored minimum points in the last 2 weeks and had a very poor showing versus Chelsea. Just wasn't up to it, and his XGI shows that over the last 4 matches that he has dipped down in form, only 1.03 over the last 4 matches. He has created a decent number of chances over the last 4 with 7, and he has only had 4 shots in the box, so a little bit more on the creation side, but a lot less on the shooting side. Only 4 shots in the box in the last 4 matches, so that's only averaging 1 per match, which isn't great. Now, it is expected that Kane is supposed to be back either for their FA Cup fixture in midweek next week versus Everton, or for this, trip to the Etihad versus Man City in the league in Game Week 24. Now, whether Kane is going to be fully fit and firing, he usually takes a few games to kind of get rolling, and will he be back to full fitness by the time the double game week rolls around, assuming he doesn't, get re-injured, then we could potentially look at him. I think Son is a very good captaincy option this week just because of how bad West Brom are, and this is more of fixture over form than anything. Son has been doing quite well this season, but I think that if there is a game that you're going to captain Son, this is probably the best one you're going to get without Kane, just because of how open West Brom are. But I think there could potentially be options for other captaincy options. But I think Son, if you choose to captain the South Korean for this game week, I think you should see at least some returns for this game week. Next up on the captaincy list, we have Patrick Bamford, who has registered 11 goals and 8 assists with 124 points and started off as a 5.5 million forward. That just blows my mind every time. But he has gotten a lot of points over the last couple of weeks and has done quite well for himself. Only an assist in game week 22, but got a 15-point haul, which he was on my bench for in their away fixture, which he typically does quite well in, and that was away to Leicester, and he did really well, and they played, you know, admirably in that game as well. However, the new surface has been laid at Ellen Road, and they will be hosting Crystal Palace, who are a team that are going to be without Wilfried Zaha, who could be sidelined for at least a couple of weeks, and they'll definitely want to get revenge for the last time that they played Palace, suffering a 4-1 defeat. Not many times Palace score more than 1 goal, let alone 4. So they're going to want to be able to, you know, kind of get that one back on them. And they shouldn't be threatened by Palace's counter-attack with the likes of Zaha being out. Eze is obviously still a young player and still developing, and Jordan Ayew just hasn't hit, you know, the heights that he could potentially have had pretty much throughout his whole career. He does little spells where it looks like, you know, there's a very good player in there, but overall lacking in final quality. And Bamford is top 5 for shots inside the box over the last 6 matches, which is what we want to see him doing. And he's had a decent number of headed chances, and Crystal Palace are in the top 2 worst over the past 4 matches for headed attempts conceded on goal. So Bamford can steer a few, you know, on target. He may be in for a nice hole this game week. Next up is the big man from West Ham, Mikael Antonio. He has been excellent since he's come back from injury, rising in price quite a bit. He's now 6.7 million, and he's been doing fantastically well. And he's got a big hole in him, I'm convinced. He's got Fulham away this week, a very good fixture on paper, and was one of the fixtures that we were eyeing him up on previously when he was, like, you know, out, you know, injured and was potentially going to be coming back in a couple of weeks. This was in the single-digit game weeks earlier on in the season. We were kind of eyeing that up, as well as a Sheffield United game as well. I think that was like game weeks, you know, 8 or 9, I think it was, somewhere around there. But he's been doing quite well. 5 goals, 3 assists on the season. He's 22.1% owned now that a lot of people have kind of, you know, geared in on him and looked and seen that he's probably one of the best budget forwards in the game. Getting 8 points. He got 2 assists for Jesse Lingard's 2 goals as well. And he did quite well in that game and had some big chances that he could have potentially scored and came up with a monster hole. He's tied second for the most big chances in the last 4 matches with 4. And he's averaging 2.5 shots, which is 10 shots in the box over the last 4 games. And his XGI is very good as well, 3.65 over the last 4 matches, so basically almost a return per match, which is quite good. And he's up against Fulham, who are also, much like Crystal Palace, in the top 2 worst for headed attempts conceded on goal, which could bode well for West Ham, who are a very good set piece team. And with the likes of Souček, Antonio, Ogbonna, these sorts of players, you wouldn't be surprised if a few headed attempts went rearing in on goal and forced Areola to have to either make a very good save or potentially up in the back of the net. So Antonio is definitely on my list for potential captaincy choice this game week. And lastly, for our wacky differential captain for this game week, I've gone with Marcos Alonso. He currently sits at 5.6 million, a defender that we had probably forgotten about. The original, the ultimate wingback in his day, the basically plays like a left forward, and he seems to be in favor over Ben Chilwell, especially over the last 2 game weeks since Thomas Tuchel has come in. Now, he said during the Burnley game, oh, we needed him for his height, but then he went and scored a goal, and then he played again versus Spurs. So is he going to play again? So this will be a very big risk, but could be a bargain at 5.6 million. His next 2 games are versus Newcastle and Sheffield United being this week, who aren't a team that score very many goals to begin with, and Chelsea have looked quite good and quite solid defensively and just basically nullified Spurs' counterattack completely. and nullified Burnley as well as Wolves, keeping a clean sheet in all 3 of those games. He's got a 14-pointer and a 6-pointer in his last 2, which basically is an average of 10 points per game in the last 2. So I think that Alonso could be, under his new role as his or his former role, I should say, as a wingback under Thomas Tuchel, could be a quite good and a big differential pick. And Chelsea defenders could be useful going into the double game week, even though they're scheduled to potentially have United, and I believe it's either City or Liverpool. I think it's a bad run in that double game week, but it is a double game week player nonetheless, and they have 2 good fixtures leading up to it as well. So I think they could potentially be good value, and maybe Rudiger's probably more of the flavor because he's 4.5 million. But if you're looking for something a bit different, a bit spicy, someone with a all action, Marcos Alonso is probably the guy for a differential captaincy pick this game week. And that's going to do it for my best captaincy picks for Game Week 23. If you are enjoying the videos and you want to support the channel, hit that like button. You can do it by just hitting that thumbs up and then also subscribing as well. It greatly helps out the channel and helps the channel grow. Because at the end of the day, the channel is for you guys, to help you out, helps me out as well. There's been a lot of interactivity in the comments as well as on the streams, and it's been fantastic to see. So make sure to turn the notification bells on as well, so you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. And drop us a follow over on Twitter so that you can keep up to date with all the stuff that is coming out FPL wise, as well as we will be doing our FPL stream for Game Week 23. The deadline will be up 1 hour before the deadline for Game Week 23, so make sure to come check us out over on Twitch. So follow us over there so that you can see when we do go live. There's also links in the description to check that out as well. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, take care.